Hi gang, Rob here. It is the evening of 10 August 2023, Thursday night, 9 o'clock. Time for a knife sale on the Apostle P channel, and a knife sale we shall have. I'd like to welcome everyone who's watching this week. It's going to be a fun sale. Before we get into the meat of it, let's do a little bit of housekeeping. First up, I need you to be familiar with and agreeable to the terms of the sale, which I will post on the screen for you in just a moment. I'll also print them in the description underneath this video. Also in the video description at the very top, you're going to see 3 links to previous videos on this channel that will be helpful as you navigate things over these weeks. The first one of those links is especially pertinent if you're new to this weekly sales event. It's called a Primer for Buyers. It's a 38-minute expanded explanation of the terms of the sale. That will be a valuable watch for you if you're new to this weekly sales event. The second link is to my FAQs for Consignors video. That'll be helpful if you're interested in using this weekly sale to move along some of your collection that explains how everything works from the consignor's perspective. And the third link, as always, is to my rates and services video for the TheApostleP Knife Service, the original precision sharpening service for the online knife community. So in the all-important video description, at the very top you'll see those 3 links, then in the middle, the terms of the sale, and at the bottom, the list of tonight's inventory, complete with timestamps on the left, pricing on the right. In that pricing column, you'll generally see 2 numbers. The one on the left of the slash is the price of your knife as shown in the video, the price on the right as sharpened by the TheApostleP Knife Service. There will be no next day sharpening this week, but the good news is if you buy your knife to be sharpened, it should ship in 3 weeks, maybe a little less. If you see the word sold in lieu of pricing in that far right column, no need to send an inquiry or an I'll take it. That knife has been bought and paid for by its new owner. I think that's about it. Yeah. Must be time to get the terms up on the screen for you, and then we'll be right back with the sale. Here are the terms. All right, let's get to it, shall we? First up, we just have 2 leftovers from last week. It was a monster sale last week. Hope this one goes as well. The first one of them is from Maxace Knives, and the model inside is the MRK03 Rock. This one comes with white G10 scales over a titanium set of bolsters, and then you've also got a titanium back spacer with a lanyard loop and a titanium clip, right hand tip up only. Inside you've got an exquisite trailing point blade in Bowler M390, beautifully stonewashed, 4 inches in blade length, 5 5/16 inches a handle, and then your mechanism is going to be stainless steel liner lock that locks up rock solid like a bank vault, ball bearing pivot, you've got a flipper and thumb studs, blade centering is right down the middle, very handsome knife if you're into white. I know some of you are. So let's see, it is like new in the box. These are out of stock everywhere. When they were available, they had a web price of $148 new. We ran this one at $125 last week, Didn't sell. We dropped it to 110 for the weekend. Still here. Let's do 95 bucks on the Maxace Rock. 125 if you'd like it with an Apostle P edge. Next up, whoops, from Zero Tolerance, it's a real beast. Which beast is it? Well, it's the 0562 BLK. So, DLC frame, DLC blade, black G10 scale. However, this one is not wearing its black G10 scale, nor is it wearing a factory ZT carbon fiber scale, because it doesn't have that mold skin on the flat. So I'm not sure who made this scale, but it is a nicer carbon fiber scale than you would get with a 562 CF. There is your DLC coated frame. Now you've got one little nick right here and then some clip wear in the DLC. The clip might have one tiny little mark right there, and then you've got the blade. Now this knife has been used a little, a couple little shiny spots where the bevel grind starts. But I would say carried a lot, used a little. No discernible edge wear. There is your lock engagement on the steel inserted titanium frame lock. It is using a KVT ball bearing pivot system. No death lock. My fingers were on the lock bar when I just opened that. Action's beautiful, as is the blade centering. I'm going to still call this excellent to near mint in box. I was admonished in an email by one of my buyers that I didn't represent the knife adequately. He said it was a heavy user. I don't think so, because I don't detect any aftermarket sharpening, and there's no edge wear. So yeah, there might be a couple light rubs, but there you go. So let's see. These are out of stock, and the G10 scale is in the box. I just dropped it on the floor, and I'm not going to bend over to get it, by the way. Anyway, out of stock, web pricing on these was $240 when they were new. These do have the 20 CV blade, by the way. We ran it last week for $220, and who knows, the scale would have probably added $50 to the price of that knife, so it would have been, what, $290-ish with the scale. Didn't sell for us at $220. We dropped it at $195 for the weekend. It's still here, so let's go $175 like it is, $205 with an Apostle P edge. That is the ZT0562 BLK plus custom scale. Next up, time for a little run of arachnids. Spyderco. This is the Delica FFG full flat ground Zome super blue steel and DLC. Pretty cool. The blue and gray Zome FRN handle, which I think fits with the theme if we were rocking the Japanese super blue steel. Black hardware on this one. DLC coated blade, but I believe even under the DLC you can see that line of demarcation between the super blue core and the SUS 410 cladding on that blade. Lockup is dead rock solid. Pretty nice free action. Blade centering hard to see, but I think it's just about dead. It might favor the left at this closing, but it might favor the right. There. Pretty dead centered for a Delica. Condition of this knife will be, it is a limited edition, out of stock, by the way. We'll call it like new in the box. I could find no new web retail price references. There are no sold listings on eBay for this knife. There's one current listing, which is a buy it now at $150. Let's do on this one $125 like it is, $150 with an Apostle P edge. That's the Spyderco Delica FFG Zome Super Blue DLC. Next up, another Spidey, this one from Golden, Colorado, USA Earth. It is a Manix 2 XL. Not a Sprint, not a limited edition, just a Manix 2 XL with black G10, bright hardware, and an S30V blade. The larger Manix, with my fingerprints all over it, you will have that, is a 3 7/8 inch blade, a 5 1/16 inch handle, tons of real estate, the caged ball lock, not quite a free dropper, just a little bit sticky, but I'm sure you could tune that up a little bit. Blade centering down the middle, lock up, rock solid. You could definitely play with that pivot a little bit. So condition like new in box. I would call this a superb example. Blade grind is beautiful. Lockup is bank vault. So yeah, current map pricing for the Manix 2 XL is $192 at your favorite web retailer. Let's do on this one $145 like it is $170 with an ApostleP Edge. That's the Spyderco Manix 2 XL. Next up, one of my favorite Spyderco patterns in the last 20 years. This will come from Golden, Colorado, USA Earth. It is the Native Chief. We'll call this the Native Chief PJ, the Plain Jane. Black G10 handle. Bright hardware. S30V blade. The long, slender, luscious leaf. The midlock. No Boy dent on this one. Does have the bushing pivot like a Para 2 or any other Native of the modern era. 4-way clip. Lockup is so dead rock solid. Very free blade. Centering is, man, if it ain't perfect, it's very doggone close. Like, pretty close, guys. Anyway, condition will be near mint in box. I found very, very, very slight edge wear right at the tip. Just a tiny little roll that might actually be gone. So very near mint in box. Current web retail or map pricing for this knife is $199. Let's sell this one at $150 like it is $175 with an ApostleP Edge, the Spyderco Native Chief PJ. Next up, we've got a Spyderco dealer exclusive from Golden, Colorado. It is the Para 3 Plain Edge 204P. You guys are all familiar with this configuration, I'm sure. The green G10 and the 204P blade indicate it is a KnifeWorks exclusive, Para 3, and it is. There is your CTS 204P steel designation. Bright hardware, bright clip. Rock solid compression lock. Free drop and blade. Centering is dead down the middle. This knife has been used and sharpened, and although the edge is sharp, the bevel not that refined. So would it be a fine user with this edge on it? Absolutely. Would it look better if I resharpened it? Of course it would. So we'll call it near mint in box. These are discontinued and out of stock at KnifeWorks. Arizona had some priced at $200. Those are gone. Sold listings on eBay ranging between $195 and $260. Let's do $190 on this one. $220 with an ApostleP Edge. That is the Spyderco Para 3 green 204p. Next up. This is like a little gift from Spyderco to the Spyderco community. Because it's a paramilitary 2 in CPM crew wear and natural canvas micarta. Now, a knife with these materials would normally be a sprint run or a dealer exclusive for Spyderco. As far as I can tell, it's regular production. And they're in stock, which means to get sort of an exotic handle material other than G10 and an awesome steel, you don't have to pay like $250 for these. So here you go. And you can tell by the color of the natural micarta that it has not seen much pocket time or hand time at all. In fact, the clip has never been moved from its factory position. There is your blade edge for the crew wear. Absolutely pristine factory edge. Rock solid compression lock lockup. Free dropping blade. Perfect blade centering. It is like new in the box. So current MAP pricing, web retail for these is $203. I don't think you're going to find a nicer example than this like new in box version. Your price $175 like it is, $200 with an ApostleP edge on the Para 2 Nat Can for natural canvas micarta and crew for crew wear. Next up, I mentioned in my teaser video that we had a couple Benchmades that I called modern classics. This certainly one of them. From the Hunt series, it's the 15080-2 Crooked River. Kind of the OG Crooked River with diamondwood scales, natural appearing but hard anodized aluminum bolsters, and then orange hard anodized pivot collars and an orange G10 backspacer with the parkerized split arrow clip. And guys, the diamond wood on this knife is pretty doggone good looking. So, typical Benchmade, phosphor bronze washers, thumb studs, and an access lock that all work beautifully. Blade is S30V. It is 3 31/32 in length on this knife. The handle is 5 5/16, and what an ergonomic work of art. Stunning clip point blade. Near free dropper. Lock up, rock solid. Blade centering is right there. I haven't used a micrometer, but that looks dead centered to my eye. Condition on this Crooked River, like new in box. They are still running them. They won't die because people buy them. Current MAP price. That's minimum advertised pricing, web retail. $288 they've crept up to. All right, all you guys who whine about the butterfly tax, it's real. However, this one, a superb example like new in box, $225 like it is, $250 with an ApostleP edge. That's the Benchmade 15080-2 Crooked River. Next up, we have arrived at the Rob's Pick for tonight's sale. That means none of my early birds who get the list at 8 o'clock in the morning on sale day got to see it. I always reserve one knife for my 9 o'clock guys, and I try to make it one of the, if not the most desirable knives in the sale. This one I'm sure is. It's from Benchmade, and it is another modern classic. It's the 781 Anthem. Two things make this knife very special. First is the integral titanium handle. It is one piece of milled titanium with a gorgeous bronzy hard anodized coating. This one is sporting a Lynch titanium deep carry clip. The original clip is pristine and in the box. And this knife is a first production run knife. I didn't note the serial number, and my eyes are too old to read it, but you guys can. The blade is 20 CV. It is 3 7/16 inches, maybe 3.5 long. The handle 4 9/16. And here's the other thing that makes this knife special. The axis lock does not use omega springs. It is a cartridge axis lock system that affixes using those 2 screws. And it's a coil spring over a rod. It is so awesome in its operation. Ball bearing pivot also. So there's your Stonewash 20 CV blade. Lockup is rock solid. Centering on this one is not perfect. It does favor the left side slightly. So the Anthem, one of those great stories in the annals of knife history. I think these were like, what, $425, $430 web retail when they were available new, and they are no longer. They didn't sell well. People could not justify in their minds Sabenza money for a Benchmade, although it's got some pretty special features. And the blade is like a 943, but more robust and a little bit longer. Just a superb blade. They didn't sell at $425. I was selling these while they were in current production, used for what, mid-200s, and then they discontinued them. That means sold listings on eBay as of August 2023 ranging between $500 and $830. There were a couple at $899 that fell off, but man, interesting. When they were available, people snubbed their nose at them, and now that they're gone, they're skyrocketing. However, this does have a little centering issue, so we're going to price it at the bottom of that range. It is in pristine condition, other than the clip swap. Okay, let's do $565 like it is $595 with an Apostle P edge. That's the Benchmade. $781 Anthem, the Rob's pick tonight. Next up, got one from Cold Steel. Yes, we do. It is the AD10, designed by Andrew Demko. And this appears to be a current model. So here you go. 3D machine, beautifully blasted and crowned black G10. Aluminum liners. Tip up ambidextrous clips. They're not a symmetrical clip, so they give you an extra for lefty carry. Triad lock. Nice thwack. Blade steel on this one's going to be S35VN. Beautiful, beautiful bidirectional satin, by the way. 3.5 blade, 5 5/16 handle. But there's a reason for every bit of that handle. It's just beautiful in the hand. Is the lockup solid? What do you think? It's a triad lock. And beautiful free action on phosphor bronze. Blade centering looks like it's very close, but it might slightly favor the right. I bet you could fix that if you really wanted to. Condition like new in box. Current web retail for these is $150. Let's do this one at $125, shipped, priority mail, all in. $125 like it is. $125 like it is. $150 if you want my edge on it. That's the Cold Steel AD10. Next up, speaking of Andrew Demko, what do we have here? We have something from Demko Knives. It is the AD20.5 with the slotted clip point blade, gray Grivery handle. And this also is going to be ambidextrous tip up, and the lefty clip is in the box. Ball bearing pivot shark lock design. So it kind of gives you a little thumb ramp there, and then to release the lock, you pull back on that tab. Beautiful. Locks out super solid. Ball bearing pivot makes the action sweet. The blade is 3 3/16 inches of AUS 10A, backed up by a 4 7/16 handle. Nice texturing on the grivery, great color. And I love how the stonewash of the blade kind of ties in with the gray handle, just nondescript and discreet. How's the blade centering? Let's see. Down the middle. Condition on the AD 20.5 is like new in the box. These are now out of stock. When they were available, they were $150. Let's do $120 on this one. $145 with an Apostle P edge. That's the Demko AD 20.5 gray AUS 10A. Next up. Whoa. I hit my light. From the Microtech Signature Series, made in the USA, we have an Ultratech single edge with the Molon Labe handle motif in bronzed apocalyptic standard finish on the blade and hardware. So, and that screening on the handle has a little bit of a Boba Fett thing going on, which is totally factory. There is your drop point blade, bidirectional, sort of acid stonewash, and then not bidirectional, but a two-tone finish. Satin on the flats, an acid stonewash on the bevel and the swedge, with the bronze apocalyptic finish. Also on the clip. So you got a 3 5/16 blade, a 4 11/16 handle, born September of 2020, and all we know about these is premium steel. So either LMAX or 204P or M390. On these Signature Series, they rarely, if ever, print the steel on the blade because that's just how they roll. It's whatever they're running, whichever premium stainless they're running. So let's see, the button effort is firm. Not painfully firm, but it's firm. Reliability, 100%. We'll say it's near mint to like new in box. These are out of stock. When they were last available, they had a web retail price of $347. Let's do $295 on this one. $325 if you'd like it with an Apostle P edge. That's the Microtech Ultratech Molon Labe. Next up, it's time to go to China. Let's see, we have one from Civivi. It is the C2014 DS-2 Dogma. Kind of a good looking little pocket knife. Interesting handle material. It is a hybrid of blue G10 and carbon fiber, and then it's beautifully milled to emulate jigging and a bolster. Pretty cool. Your clip is going to be deep carry, tip up ambidextrous. Your pivot will be on ball bearings. And they want you to know that this Damascus steel blade is hand rubbed before a very dark edge. A very cool looking blade. Nice hollow grind, super thin. 3 7/16 blade, 4 1/4 handle. Stainless steel liner lock, ball bearing pivot, rock solid lockup. Dead centering and sweet flip in action. It's like new in the box. These are discontinued, not out of stock. When they were last available, they were $80 web retail. This one can be yours all in, shipped by Priority Mail for $60, like it is, $85 with an Apostle P edge. The Civivi C2014DS2 Dogma. Next up, we have another one from from We, but not a Civivi, an actual We. This is the 2004E Banter. I think this is the best We knife ever, by the way, because it's inexpensive and it's high quality. It's easy to carry, and if you lose it, you buy another one. So gray G10, polished deep carry tip-up clip that is going to be, sorry guys, right hand only. We have thumb stud deployment on a ball bearing pivot. We have a beautiful satin finished S35 VN blade, 2 7/8 inches long. High saber ground spear point. Ben Peterson design. Ground nice and skinny. There is your liner lock engagement. It's rock solid. Blade centering is We perfect. Blade length 2 7/8, handle 3 5/8, so super efficient blade to handle ratio. A perfect example in like new condition. They are still available for $109 web retail if you want to buy one brand new, or just buy this one like new in box, $80, shipped priority mail, 105 with an Apostle P edge. The We 2004E Banter. Next up, another Chinese brand. CJRB, and the knife inside, according to the sticker, is J1929B-CF. The model is the Echo. So we have some scales that are, well, let's say it's a really nice picture of carbon fiber over a G10, kind of like the Ontario carbon fiber. The clip, tip up deep carry polished, and it is going to be ambidextrous. The mechanism, I guess you call this a front flipper. Hey, look at that. I actually front flipped. We've got kind of a, it's almost a spay blade or a bellied sheep's foot. Interesting, don't you think? It's in the normal CJRB steel, which is AR-RPM 9. 3 1/4 inches of stonewash blade. The handle is 4 1/4. It is a button lock ball bearing flipper. That's a front flipper, I guess. Button lock works great. The D10 is nice. The centering is perfect. The lockup is perfect. Interesting Sabenza-like lanyard post inside. Cool. Centering is very close, but might favor the left just slightly. Ray Laconico designed this, by the way. You can buy these brand new for $55 plus postage plus tax at your favorite web retailer, or just buy this one, like new in the box, $40 shipped priority mail, 65 with an Apostle P edge. The CJRB J1929B-CF Echo. Next up, we've got one from Jack Wolf Knives, and it is the Javelina Jack. I should probably show the tubes more when I run these. No outer box with this one, but it does have the cloth and the biscuit and the split grain leather slip. Oh, and there's a knife. The Javelina Jack would be a single-bladed clip point sow belly pattern with modern materials. I call them fusion knives. 3 and 13/16 inches of closed length. You have a titanium frame, so the liners and the bolster are one piece of titanium on each side. The cover material is called Brittany Blue Camo Carbon. Big steel back spring. And then a pinchable, full height, hollow ground, very upswept clip point blade with a nail neck. in S90V. Blade length is 2 13/16. And it's got a man's pull. I'm going to say it's an 8. And a sweet walk and talk. Why? Because it actually uses a kick instead of an internal stop pin. That's pretty cool. Centering is very close to perfect. It might very slightly favor the right, but it's so close. Awesome walk and talk. Condition will be near mint in tube, no box. The only thing keeps it from being like new is it has been in and out of the slip a couple times. Just some very, very slight burnishing on that bead blasted titanium. So let's see. Near mint in tube, no box. These are out of stock. When they were available, they were $2.99 web retail. Let's do this one at $2.30 like it is. $2.55 with an Apostle P edge. That is the Jack Wolf Javelina Jack. Next up, got a little fixed blade from a company I'm not familiar with. Steingraber Performance Knives. And it looks like he makes two models, the Shark and the Sasquatch. This one's a Shark. It is CPM 4V at 65 to 66 Rockwell. Okay, we got something here. I got a fold-over Kydex sheath with a reinforced neoprene loop. No rattle, nice thumb brake. The handle scales are Seafoam TerraTough, removable. But let's talk about the blade, because this knife is really all about the blade. A full flat ground leaf shape blade, 2 15/16 inches in length. The handle's 4 1/8. The stock thickness is 97 thousandths at the full width of the spine. The behind the edge dimension, 16 thousandths. That's Gale Bradley thin, okay? This knife is going to be a beast of a slicer. Look how thin the tip is. Yeah. These are out of stock on the Steingraber website and everywhere else they might be sold that I could find. There's one current listing on eBay that is a buy it now at $400. This one can be yours for $325, and it is like new, no box, but with the baggie, okay? $325 like it is. $355, I put my edge on that skinny 4V blade, which if I were going to own this knife, I'd want it with my edge on it. That's the Steingraber Shark fixed blade. Next up, we have one from the design mind of Enrique Pena. It is from his X series. No box label. Here is the knife. This is the Pena X series Trapper front flipper. Titanium bolster lock affair with marbled carbon fiber scales. A right hand tip up milled titanium pocket clip. Steel inserted titanium bolster lock. I will not try to flip this one correctly because I'll fail. Blade steel is M390, 2 13/16 inches in length. Kind of a very subtle harpoon clip. The handle is 3 11/16. It locks up thusly, and it is rock solid. The ball bearing action is silky, silky smooth. The centering is perfect. Condition like new in the box. These are out of stock. When they were available, they had a web retail of $274. This one is a deal. Let's do $185 like it is. $210 with an Apostle P edge. That's the Pena X series Trapper front flipper. Okay, next up we've got a very cool knife from Wingman EDC every single day. The knife inside is listed as the MDD-K hand satin model 2. So they made this knife in 2 configurations, one with the grinder satin and one with the hand rub satin. It comes with this little dog tag that will indicate it as the MDD kick stop in Bowler M390 with 6AL 4V titanium. Tom Mayo designed and signed, number 450. A super sweet little knife. Clearly Mayo with the many, many holes. A 3 o'clock lockup. Titanium steel inserted frame lock, milled titanium right hand tip up clip, and then a beautiful flipper tab. It does stick out a little bit, but man, does it work. Rippy little detent. Gorgeous hand rub satin, sort of bayonet ground spear point. Top edge, of course, not sharp. Gorgeous hand rub satin. Beautiful pointy, luscious blade. 3 3/16 of M390, 4 1/16 of handle, so super efficient blade to handle. Very nice in hand. Has a little Almar sear thing going on. And then here is your kick stop. So when your knife is closed, the flipper protrudes, but you'll notice, if I can, as the knife comes down, the flipper reveals itself to not be attached, not part of the knife blade. It just lies discreetly in the spine of the handle, so nothing comes down here. Very nice. Action, centering, lockup, all perfect. Condition like new in box, and a very nice little hidden lanyard post in the gear pattern backspacer. These are discontinued and out of stock when they were available. They were $490 web retail. This one can be yours $360 like it is, or $390 with an Apostle P edge. It's the Wingman EDC MDD-K for kickstop in hand rub satin, Tom Mayo design. Beautiful knife. Next up, I teased you about this one yesterday. It's from Kershaw. It does not have a Made in USA sticker. It's a Chinese knife. It's the 2077 Strata XL. I think I've sold one of these knives on the channel before. Here you go. Look at that. So a little bit of 3D machining on the black G10 handle scale. Then you got a pretty amazing pivot. Well, this would be the female pivot, and then this would be a pivot collar that also acts as an over travel stop, anodized copper. It is a stainless steel frame lock, the stainless steel frame, that sort of old school Kershaw bead blast, deep carry right hand tip up clip, and it's a ball bearing flipper, and it's big. Blade steel is D2. It is 5 7/16 inches long, and it locks up rock solid bank vault. The handle is 6 13/16. I mean, there is a ton of real estate there, boys. Ball bearing pivot. And let's look at the blade centering. Man, it's perfect. No death lock. Squared away knife, guys. So these used to sell for like $90. I noticed Knife Center has them on sale for $53. Plus tax and postage, I'm sure. This one can be yours. $45 all in, shipped priority mail, $70 with an Apostle P edge, and it is like new in the box. And about as perfect example as you're going to see. The Kershaw 2077 Strata XL. Next up, we have one from Tops. Tactical Operations Products. The Tactical Division. One life, one knife. And inside we have a folder manufactured by Fox. It is the CQT Magnum folder, and this is a Tonto blade, and I have sharpened it for my consignor at some point in the past. Just wait till you see this. So you got a stainless steel liner lock, heavy stainless steel liners, open pillar construction, black G10 scales, an ambidextrous tip down deep carry clip, thumb stud deployment. Oh yeah, N690 CO steel. I'm not sure what the coating is, but it's black, with an ApostleP edge, and it is scary, scary sharp. Blade length is 4 7/16. This is a large folder. The handle is 5 3/4, and it's very Almar Sear in the handle profile. Definitely a handle made for large hands. There is your lock engagement. Lockup is rock solid, and it is on bearings, and it centers up perfectly. So we will call it near mint in box with an ApostleP edge, and this is M390, by the way. Let's see. I'm sorry, it's not M390, it's N690 CO. Sorry about that. They're out of stock. They're currently available for pre-order on a couple websites at $180. Now, this would have cost $30, this sharpening job. So if you bought it for $180 and sent it to me, and then you got postage, you're up around $220. This one can be yours all in, done with an ApostleP edge, $150 shipped priority mail. The top CQT Magnum folder with an ApostleP edge. Next up, I got 3 knives that I'm going to list separately, but they're all the same model, so I'm going to kind of show them to you all at once. Tactical Art from Bastinelli Creations, and they're all 3 going to have the same box. So I have 2 of them in the dark stonewash finish. There's number 1. And there's number 2. And then I have 1 in satin. So these will be listed, and they are all wearing ApostleP edges, and they're all near mint in box, sharpening noted. Basically, they're like new, but I've sharpened them. The model is the Bastinelli Big Drago Tack. The Bastinelli Big Drago Tack. And I will show them to you. I'll just use one example here. Look at this. Now this knife has been produced in 2 different knife steels. I think these are the older run, and they were in, if we can see down the blade well, manufactured by Lion Steel in Italy, and the blade steel is M390. All 3 of these are M390. So you've got that dark stonewash blade, which is 4 9/16 inches in length, then a 6 1/8 inch handle, kind of plain titanium on the working side, and then 3D machined crowned G10 with kind of a big diamond pattern. Allen wrench pivot, steel inserted titanium frame lock, and an ApostleP edge. So here's number 1. This is dark stonewash number 1. Locks up there, and it is a ball bearing pivot with a thumb disc for deployment. Action is awesome. Centering on number 1, it might favor the left slightly. You could probably tighten the pivot. It is on ball bearings. It'd be like new except for my edge, so we'll call it near mint in box. That's number 1. Here's dark stonewash number 2. Locks up thusly, and it is rock solid. Blade centering on this one, it's very close to perfect, but again, might favor the left slightly. You could probably tighten the pivot. And then here's the satin one with the lighter titanium for contrast. And then the satin blade. It's not actually satin, it's actually stonewash, not dark, I guess. Also with an Apostle P edge. There's your lock engagement. It's rock solid. Centering about perfect on that one. So it's kind of a take your pick. Dark stonewash number 1, dark stonewash number 2, and then satin, all with Apostle P edges. You can find these in stock new, but they're in D2. And those D2 knives are $400. These are M390 knives. We're going to sell them all $300 each. The Bastinelli Big Dragotach in dark stonewash, or I said satin in the listing, but it's actually a non-dark stonewash. And they're already sharpened, so they do not need my attention. Next up, ooh, we got a couple from Night Elements. So the first one is a model DMJK-02M. The M for micarta. So this is the Night Elements Ultra Kukri. Wearing natural canvas micarta in a Kydex sheath, beautifully made. Is that Kydex? I think it is, yeah. And then you got your neoprene belt loop splitting loops. Super nice fit, no rattle, nice thumb break. Blade is a small kukri, and these are made in Italy by Fox Knives. Blade steel is N690CO, black coated, beautiful fuller. I mean beautiful fuller. Blade length is 4 7/8. The handle is 5. Jason Knight design. I'm going to say that is, gosh, is that 1/4 inch? Pretty robust. Factory edge unmolested. 4 7/8 blade, 5-inch handle, plenty of real estate. With the Kydex sheath, like new in box. These are out of stock. When they were available, they had a web price of $255. We're doing this at $210 like it is, and then $240 if you'd like my edge on that kukri blade with the recurve. There we go. So that is Jason Knight, Night Elements Ultra Kukri V2 micarta. Why so specific? Well, because we got another one. Night Elements, model DJMK-02. It's the Ultra Kukri version 2 with black G10 scales. So same Kydex sheath, same loop arrangement, same thumb brake, same black coated blade in N690CO, 4 7/8 inches, 5 inches of G10 handle. A nice usable small kukri with a gorgeous tapered fuller. Thick stock. Unmolested factory edge. Like new. There might be a Kydex sheath rub, maybe. So out of stock everywhere at $255 web retail. Let's do this one at $210 like it is. $240 with an Apostle P edge. That's the Night Elements Ultra Kukri V2 in G10. Next up, Wow, we have two Save Me From Myself knives coming back to back. Both cold steel fixed blades. Here's the first one. Need we say more? It's the 3V SRK. What a knife. What a knife. It comes in a molded plastic or Securex sheath with a removable loop and dangle. Look at that. Zero rattle. And inside we got us a knife. In gorgeous bidirectional satin on a CPM 3V blade with a beautiful shimmering black PVD coating. Oh, and by the way, it has an ApostleP edge on it. Oh. The Cray X, not Cray Time, but Cray X handle. Brass lanyard tube. The SRK has a 6-inch blade. A 4 3/4 handle. It's everything you need a handle to be, and everything you need a general purpose field knife to do. So gorgeous. We're going to call it near mint in box, mostly because it has been sharpened, but it's got such a better edge than the factory edge. So these are now discontinued and out of stock. When they were available, the 3V black version of the SRK had a web retail of $210. And then my consignor, when this knife was new, paid me $35 to put this edge on it. So what would that be, like $245? Let's do this at $170, shipped priority mail, no need to sharpen. The cold steel SRK 3V and an ApostleP edge. Oh, next up. I've lusted after this knife, I think since it was brand new in Cold Steel's catalog. Let's do it this way. Oh. Yes, it's the Laredo Bowie. And yes, it is a work of art. Oh. This one is going to be in 4034 stainless steel. Comes in a large Securex sheath with a removable dangle and loop. Oh. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? And by the way, it is wearing an ApostleP edge, a beautiful polished convex edge. 10 7/16 inches of Laredo Bowie awesomeness. Stainless steel guard, a coffin-shaped and crowned handle in black linen, micarta, and look how they finished off the nut. Beautiful, just beautiful. Just beautiful. I'm going to call it near mint in box, but that's $40 worth of my sharpening, guys. And that spine is very nearly sharp. I mean, you do a little burr removal and it's sharp. Oh, guys. So yeah, these are currently in stock new. I believe you can buy one for $239 web retail. And then if you wanted it like this, you'd have to pay me $40 to sharpen it. So what's that, $279? Let's do this at $175 shipped priority mail. No need to sharpen. It's the Cold Steel Laredo Bowie. What a beauty. Next up, ooh, I definitely teased these knives hard, these last 4 in the sale. All from the Upper Peninsula, 3 different brands. Let's see, the first one, Blackjack Classic Blades, model 17. So for those of you who don't know this story, Blackjack Knives was a company started back in the early 90s by Mike Stewart, maybe the late 80s. That company didn't make it. I think Phil at Blue Ridge bought the brand when they went bankrupt after Mike left, and started making knives in China. But the Blackjack Classic blades were contracted with a new knife company in Escanaba, Michigan named Bark River Knives. And all the Blackjack Classic blades since what, mid-2000s have been produced by Bark River, by Mike Stewart, the original founder of Blackjack. And this one is a happily licensed Randall pattern. It's the Model 1 7-inch blade, the 1-7. And here we go. So, blade length, 6 15/16 inches. Now I'm going to list it as having some storage patina, but most of what you're seeing is just protective preservative on here. Then you've got your aluminum crossguard, red, white, and black spacers, black linen micarta handle. No nut on the sort of hidden large tang. The lanyard tube is your retention hardware with a lot of glue, right? The handle length is 5. And you got your leather sheath with retention for the cross strap. So when you reholster your knife, you don't cut the strap. So we will call this near mint inbox, storage patina noted. Looks like it might have been carried a little. Out of stock currently. When these are available, they're about $300 web retail. Let's do this one at $230, like it is. $260 with my edge. Blackjack Classic Model 1-7. Next up, we're going back to Escanaba for a Bark River knife. Not only produced by Bark River, but it's a genuine Bark River. This knife from the 2016 run of custom Bowies. And this is the custom 2016 7-inch Bowie-C. The C, because they made 3 styles. So this one comes in a 2-piece sheath, and it does have a leather thong threaded for retention. So you can carry this on a belt, or you can, I don't remember how to do this. You pop the cross strap over the dog. I'm not going to do it, but that's how you do it. And then this portion of the sheath you can see moves freely, so you can carry it like in your belt, and that dog stops it. So you can either carry it on your belt or in your belt. Okay. Here's the knife. Ooh. So this one is kind of the harpoon clip version, right? And these are all in A2. Blade length on the Bowie-C is 7 inches. The handle is 4 15/16 of Bill Moran Awesome, and this is in Cocobolo. Now this is a 7-year-old knife, so there's been some oxidation on the Cocobolo. If you did a repolish, that grain would pop a lot more. And then you got brass guard, red and black spacers, and a brass spacer. And there's a couple little spots of wear in the back of the handle, a couple little nicks, but very hard to see. We'll call it excellent in box. A little bit of storage patina, but again, mostly just preservative goo that I didn't really feel like cleaning off. And totally unobtainium, guys. Couldn't find a current listing for one of these, couldn't find a sold listing. Got to be worth $250, so that's your price. $280 with an TheApostleP Edge. It's the Bark River 2016 Custom Bowie-C. Next up, another one from Bark River Knives. This one, also from the custom 2016 7-inch Bowie family. This is a Bowie-B in white bone micarta. So you got that same sheath system, either low carry on the belt, or if you want to pop this inner sheath out, you can carry it inside the belt using the dog as a stop. So the Bowie-A is what we have here. Then this is more of a California clip, so a long clip back to here. A2 steel, 7 inches long. And then the bone white micarta. Black and red spacers and a brass spacer, brass crossguard. 4 15/16 inches of Bill Moran handle. Hard to beat that. Storage patina, very little. There's a little spotting right there. But a pretty much unused knife. Again, unobtainium. They built them one time and they are gone and there are none for sale. Not quite as exotic a handle material on this one as the last one. So let's just do 240 on this one. 270 sharpen. That's the Bark River 2016 Custom Bowie-A. And that brings us to the last knife in tonight's sale. Here's a brand with some long history. It's a Skagel. So Bill Skagel, one of the most prolific hunting fixed blade makers ever in the history of America. He's been gone for a while. His brand has changed hands several times, and I sort of lost track of it. I do know this. In its last couple ownership situations, the knives have been produced by Bark River. I think Dave Shirley, of the original founder of Northwoods, owned Skagel for a bit. And then Derek Bone bought Skagel for a bit. Under both those ownerships, the knives were produced by Bark River. Now, Mike Stewart and, doggone it, his water jet guy, both own the brand together. And they're made by Bark River when they make them. So this is the Skagel Medium Field. I'm thinking this is probably a Derrick era Skagel, I'm guessing. But the pattern never changes, right? It's the medium field. Comes in this leather sheath. And that is a Skagel, boys. I love how the maker's mark is stamped and not etched in these. A convex ground trailing point. And look at the motion in the handle. The angle of that crossguard. Kind of a low profile but effective crossguard in aluminum. And then the aluminum pommel with the lanyard hole nut. Stacked leather, red and white and black spacers. So you got 6 3/4 inches of convex awesomeness in the blade, 4 9/16 handle, and that leather sheath. Very near mint in box. These are out of stock. Sold listings on eBay ranging between $268 and $300. Let's do this one at $250. Like it is, $280 with an ApostleP edge. It's the Skagel Medium Field. And that, friends, brings us to the end of another weekly knife sale on the ApostleP channel. Hope you enjoyed it. I sure did. Grace to you and peace, my friends, from God our Father and the Lord Jesus Christ. Remember, the word is sharp. Now commence to clicking. I'll talk to you soon.